It's November 16th, 2014, and we want to know, is Brian actually the teenage daughter of a supervillain?
If Brainiac 5 is from the future, why does he have a Zach Morris-sized iPad?
All this and more is coming up next. It's Season 2, S2-7 of DCR starting now.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DCR, the podcast that tries to keep you up to date with the week-to-week happenings in the world of DC Comics' new 52 line of books. I, of course, remain your host, Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire, and also Plague Monster Extreme. I am now the fourth horseman again. Thank you, babies. You rule. As a matter of fact, I almost actually opted out of this episode and said, Brian, my co-host and cohort in crime, can you please cover all of these books? And then I found out that my co-host and cohort in crime, Mr. Brian Klein, hello, sir.
Hey there, Sean.
Is just as sick as I. Mm-hmm. So, welcome to our...
That's babies.
Yeah, welcome to our just pure pain and misery, honestly.
I'm here. I'm unprepared. Get used to it.
It's a bad week for everything. But as such, we're alone. Just to top it all off.
Yep.
Kelly is not here. She was mauled by a pack of bears. Brian wanted to just pretend she was here the whole time and just have her not speak at all through the episode. But I figured I would just be upfront and tell you that those pesky bears were at it again.
That's what you get for carrying around all those picnic baskets.
It's what it is. It's what it is. As such, what kind of show are we, Brian?
Spoiler cast.
We are a spoiler cast. We're going to go over all
featuring throat lozenges in my mouth. I apologize in advance.
Throat lozenges. We got literally a gross of facial tissues. They're
pretty gross.
Yeah,
right.
They are pretty gross. So bear with us. We apologize, but we decided, you know what? The show must go on. The comics don't stop coming out, so by God, we're going to drag our asses out here and do this. Brian is quite literally bleeding from the eyes right now. He is bleeding from his eye sockets. His ocular cavities are pus and blood, and that's it. It's horrible. It is an atrocious sight. But, so you guys are forewarned, we are going to spoil things that happen, so if you do not want those things spoiled, or if you have not read your books, do not listen ahead.
What's the thing coming out of your stomach that keeps trying to talk to me, Sean?
It's my alien that's in there. It's my lamprey alien that I picked up. Apparently, it's part of the consumption. Is there a little alien grows out of your chest? That's why they call it the consumption. It consumes you from the inside.
I see.
Yeah, learn something new every day, right? I feel like we should be on NPR. We're really educating the masses here.
Get some light piano music going in the background. We'll be set. Well, pardon me while I wipe this blood out of my eyes.
So I just want to mitigate the damage here. So we're going to skip over questions for this week. We're just going to limp forward through this. Apologies again, but we're going to do it. God damn it. We're going to do it. So Brian, let's jump into this week's books.
All right, we're going to start off with Green Lantern Corps number 36. Act 2 needs better covers.
I kind of like the weird checkerboard designs on these ones.
It's fine, but
it's not as iconic as the other ones.
I miss the bold declarations of how stupid the Green Lanterns are. I quite enjoyed that.
That's all you want is Green Lantern Corps. Green Lantern Corps is dumb because of this.
You could have just wrote Jordan is dumb on there, and I would have been perfectly happy. The Zamarons?
Yes, the Sapphires.
The Star Sapphires, the head Zamarons, the weird alien-looking ladies, they're on their home planet. They're stealing down because of, all the crap that's going on.
Yeah, New Gods are stealing rings left and right. They're like kleptos out there.
Yep, and then they get attacked by New God Deathfall, which can't be good. on account of the falling death and whatnot.
Well, as far as the new gods I would like to meet, maybe if there was like friendly hug guy or something.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's on the list somewhere, I'll take that.
No Hug-a-Bear?
Yeah,
No Hug-a-Bear. Deathfall, huh?
Okay.
Not sure about that.
I don't think this meeting's going to go over too well.
No. So on Quard, where all of the Green Lanterns have the Green Lanterns, the Yellow Lanterns, and the Indigo
Indigos,
tribe,
yep.
they've all come together.
As well as the Guardians themselves.
Yes, the actual nude Guardians. And they meet the Weaponer of Quard, who's all about making weapons, and his big googly eyes have been replaced by googly goggles, which look a little bit better.
I kind of like the googly eyes.
That's the one thing when I look back at old comics, like, man, what's up with the Quardians? They got such weird eyes. I know they're aliens and all, but man, that's George Perez drawing them. I know you're a good artist, George. You don't need to just draw a big old,
Maybe he drew
Garfield
them with
eyes on
normal
these things.
eyes, and then he was just like, they don't look alien enough. Slap some googly eyes up.
So the Weaponer, he gives them a sword and shield that was forged from a damaged White Lantern ring. How many of those are just lying around?
That was actually at the end of the whole Brightest Day stuff.
Okay.
They actually got their hands on that stuff. So
I never made it that far. So.
Yeah, there was some precedence to it. It's all pre-New 52. It's right at that transition point over where they were doing that.
Flashpoint and all that stuff, yeah. They go to save the Star Sapphires because they know that they're obviously next on the list to get attacked since there's none over there. They make some headway, but they get captured. And also in a complete Samus Aran moment, Deathfall, the giant archer in skull armor, is actually a lady.
Oh.
Big surprise.
All right.
Surprise reveal.
I actually did not see that from the look of the character, since it's like a big bulky Punisher looking armor type. It's basically like medieval Punisher is what it looks like.
Yeah. So they break free from the energy net that was holding them in and letting them escape with a bunch of Star Sapphires by letting John Stewart become the first male Star Sapphire and tethering away to Quard with the rest of all the lanterns he had.
Which was a nice little change of pace, because it's not like, oh, well, I love that creepy tentacle monster that was pretending to be my girlfriend for the longest time. Yeah. Instead, it's his love for the Corps itself and his fellow soldiers, and that's why he got the ring, which, that makes sense for him.
Yeah.
He wasn't exactly, what'd you call him? Captain Hug-a-Bear or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not exactly known for his soft side. It's basically his solution to every problem is, well, we'll just blow up the planet that thing is on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lady Deathfall's minions are just like, hey, just gonna let him do that thing with his, scorpion spear. And she's just like, oh, it's all part of the plan to get them all together in the same place. Mwahaha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha.
Well, that doesn't seem nice.
No.
So the whole plan is, Highfather's plan is to get them all together, so he can just squash them all together into
just
a
get
white
a big
light,
old Monty Python foot and just step on them all. Squish!
Oh man, all we got was red pasty mist again. I thought it was gonna be white light. Curses! My plan's foiled once more. What do you think about the whole Godhead thing? Is this what you thought it was going to be going into it, or?
I wasn't quite sure what I was going to be getting out of it. I just knew the covers were awesome.
And you knew it was New Gods and Green Lanterns.
New Gods and Green Lanterns. That was all I really knew. I am enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
I went back and I read the hilarious Black Hand
the Green Lantern
thing.
issue from last week?
Yeah,
yes.
I found that rather amusing.
Tell me he wasn't just drawn very comedic, though.
Oh, yeah.
All of the scenes were very comedic for a character that is, shall we say, creepy?
Yeah.
A little creepy. Mm-hmm. So... I thought that was a really odd choice that they're going to make him kind of almost Larfleeze comedic style instead, where it's greed and death. Oh, they're funny guys. Don't worry about that. They'll steal everything you own, murder you, and raise your dead corpse, but still they're funny once you get to know.
You just haven't known them as long as I've known them.
That's what it is. You have to get past that
That's
rough
just
exterior.
Black Hand. It's just Black Hand.
You just have to get past that exterior. He's got some eccentricities to him. He likes to resurrect dead people, host circuses, little things. Bernard Chang again, though.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a little while since you've just gushed over his artwork, so
I'm just going to say, Bernard Chang, pretty awesome.
I like the direction they're going. I think it's great that they're at this quasi-adversarial with the meetings, so to speak. And that the New Gods basically have written off the Lanterns as so far beneath them that they're just like, just round up all the bees over in the corner there so we can just take care of them over there, because We have actual important things to do, which
Yeah.
I guess is kind of fitting for them. They are pretty much the unstoppable juggernaut forces of nature, right? The fourth world, new god stuff. So, I mean, it really does kind of make sense to me. That
I will say this, though. If you are coming into this fresh, you're going to be so lost. Like, I know have a basic understanding of them. It's almost like, X-Files, like when I was watching it, I would get really tired of like the Monster of the Week episodes and I just want the mythology ones. But I realized the mythology episodes completely would lose any normal sane person just picking up to watch it for the week.
Sure.
So, maybe not the best jumping on point.
I fell off for like 2 seasons and came back and there was just black goop all over it. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening here.
Why is the guy from Terminator here? Oh.
I don't know. Whatever. I'll watch this on the box set later.
Eventually it'll be on this thing where I could just put on my TV and watch it all.
Yeah, like a flicks over the net or something.
Matt, what are you talking about?
No, I'm crazy, man. So I'm going to move on because I have World's Finest for this week. The change of pace, it's not just covering Huntress and Power Girl as they eat pastries and gelato through Earth, what are we, 33 or Earth Prime?
Earth Prime.
Yeah. Prime Earth, whatever. Now they have made their way back to Earth 2.
Pardon me while I crinkle more cellophane.
Yes, please do if you could. They've made their way back to Earth 2, so now we've gone back in time and we're basically covering the origins of superheroes on Earth 2 as basically the storyline of Earth 2 is just starting out. Like last week or last month, you had covered the one where we were dealing with Bruce Wayne's parents, I believe it was.
Yeah.
With the 70s style and everything. Wasn't that the one that you did?
Yeah.
And so it was basically Bruce being born and all the stuff that was going on and how his dad was mixed in with the mob, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In this one, we're kind of dealing with Wonder Woman. And we're a few years past that, where basically the gods, the Roman gods in this case on Earth 2, because I guess things are weird. They don't have Greek gods. They use the Roman gods. They have come down and prophesized that, hey, Darkseid's going to show up with Apocalypse, really trash this planet, really kind of destroy everything. Everything's going to go bad. And Minerva's popping out and going, hey, guys, or I'm sorry, in this case, gals, all you Amazons, you just come with me. We're going to retreat off to some safety area and you guys can continue to worship me. And that way I get to live as a goddess. You get to survive this upcoming atrocity and, everyone wins, right? Well, except for everyone else on Earth too. And Diana's going, no, we can't do that. We have to protect them. That's what we're here for. We're the warriors of the gods. So we would have to step out there and take the battle to this Darkseid guy, whoever he is. Turns out at this point, she has already slept with Steppenwolf, so she's kind of a social pariah to the Amazons for sleeping with the enemy, and she's going, but I didn't know. Oh, I fell off my horse. I had no idea. Slade Tabby. No, how did this happen? Anyway, that's when Mercury comes down and says, hey, I'm actually wrangling up a bunch of people and trying to save this Earth 2 from this upcoming invasion. Diana, you come with me because there's 2 boys that are also prophesized to help you save this planet. So they go flying off. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. First off, we're going to take a little side tangent because we're going to say on the way there. It's not. It's basically while Mercury was on his way to pick up Wonder Woman. He stops by the childhood, home of Lois Lane where she's out watching the planes fly off and infuses the essence, the soul of a wind god, a Roman wind god into her. So now she is a wind elemental, so to speak, in her soul, saying you're going to need that later when you become a robot named Red Tornado, but don't remember this. Makes her forget and flies away.
Okay.
So it's basically Mercury has been the guy going around trying to set up all the defense for Earth. He's flown around. He's the guy that gave the Flash, Jay Garrick. Literally, he crashed to Earth at the beginning of Earth 2 after the fight with, I'm assuming a fight with Darkseid where he was imprisoned there and he escaped and he made it down to Earth and he was dying. And he said, well, you were my last stop anyway, Jay Garrick. Here's my powers. Now you're the Flash of Earth 2. Off you go, save the planet. So it's been kind of this whole thing where Mercury of Earth 2 has been the guy kind of pulling all the threads together to try to have a superhero team out there to defend Earth 2. It's kind of actually a nice little through line.
Everything seems to tie up very nicely.
Yeah, it's a
Lois
really,
Lane seems a little convenient.
That's a little weird. Don't get me wrong, but it's a, hey, where else do you get a store in Air Elemental in these days?
I guess, yeah.
So then they continue on. Bruce is having a wonderful day. Childhood Bruce, he's like 8 years old, and he's at the zoo with his dad, and they're going to visit. What do you think, Brian? What exhibit do you think they should go see at the zoo?
Owl exhibit?
No, the bat exhibit. And they're like, oh, these bats are so cool. They're kind of awesome once you get to know them. They're a little creepy and scary, but once you get past that rough exterior, just like Black Hand, they're kind of cuddly. Mm-hmm. They go outside, and that's when the mob boss, or one of the hitmen for the mob boss that his dad was working for, comes to assassinate him because his dad refused to sell drugs to the mob anymore, blah, 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 blah. And as they're about to do so, Wonder Woman pops in with Mercury and goes, huzzah, kick, boom, and knocks him out. Saves those two, and then goes, you will forget this meeting, and off they go again. It seems to happen a lot, the super secret original meeting of these characters.
Yeah.
That then their memories are tampered with and they don't remember it. Not even just in the New 52, just even in the old books I've run across that one or two times, like the actual first meeting of these characters.
I'm writing the real one, not that other one. That's a fake one. I've got the real one.
Everyone just keeps forgetting them. You would think no one could trust their memory to pick up anything at the grocery store, let alone their actual day-to-day life. So they continue on to Smallville, where, what was the name of that new god from Apocalypse? Intri? INTRI, like the lady that came to Krypton to pick up Kal-El and said, hey, he's supposed to come with us now. We're going to raise him to be a knight of Darkseid or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she shows up in Smallville now that Clark Kent is 8 years old and is like, hey, come with me. Your real parents are through this little portal. I got some candy here too. You want to follow me through? And Clark Kent's like, candy? Parents? Sure. That sounds like awesome. And he's about to go through. And that's when Wonder Woman jumps out and goes, hi-ya, what's-ah? And kicks Entry through the portal. And, Entry's like, I'll be back. And she actually throws a spear out through the portal to try to kill Clark Kent's mom, just as a vengeance strike, basically. And Clark Kent just kind of jumps in front of it. 8-year-old, and his overalls just get destroyed, and he's just standing there in like a Superman pose in like torn off overall. It's a cute little picture of like an 8-year-old Superman. It's exactly what you would think it is. A battle-torn 8-year-old Superman would look like. And of course they go, oh, by the way, you're not going to remember this. And, off they go, Mercury and Wonder Woman, to find the rest of the crew that they're going to use to help defend Earth 2 during the first invasion of Darkseid. That's kind of where World's Finest ends off. You have to admit, that is a lot more going on than previous issues of World's Finest have given us.
Certainly.
So it's using a through line that's already been established in Earth 2 to set up the backstory and how these characters all came together and actually know each other and everything like that. So you have a solid through line. And B, things are happening, dude.
Is it the same writer as when I was reading it?
It is.
Huh.
It is.
Man, where was that, those 20 issues I had to read?
I don't know. Obviously, I'm speaking out of my arse. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I almost feel like he was being shackled on that book and wasn't allowed to do anything while they were figuring out what was going on with Earth 2. Because remember, around 17 was that transition where Tom Taylor took over Earth 2, and then all of a sudden it was just, boom, death, destruction, everything's blowing up here. Oh my God. And that was when everything started moving towards the transition of getting those two back to Earth 2, and we've picked up this stuff. So I think once he had a clear view of where things were going, I think he felt a little bit more comfortable and is now able to tell a story without the manacles on his wrists, so to speak. So, again, talking out of my rear, but
here comes Desaad. Now we're going to forget about Desaad. Oh, wait, Desaad's back, maybe? I don't know.
We should just eat some ice cream instead. Hey, watch me lick this cupcake. Mm-hmm. So moving on, I have some more Earth 2 stuff. Okay. I actually had multiple Earth 2 books, and I actually split them up a little bit because Constantine takes place Earth 2 as well. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do 3 books in a row, and this one's going to be a little bit long. So, in London is calling on Earth 2. If we recall, the 4 Furies of Apocalypse, famine, death, war, and pestilence.
Steak and kidney pie.
And kidney pie?
Steak and kidney pie.
Okay, steak and kidney pie, bangers and mash, whatever. It's all the Furies of Apocalypse. They're there.
They're calling an elevator a lift.
Madness. Aluminium, you madman! The Flash...
Zebra?
The Flash, Dr. Fate, and Hawkgirl are fighting Famine, and Dr. Fate's like, oh, this is easy peasy, and he just casts some reflection spell on it, and it kind of wastes away itself, and he's like, ta-da, I'm Dr. Fate, I'm super cool, but it actually didn't seem to work because Hawkgirl and the Flash start literally wasting away, like they become all emaciated and their bones start sticking out through their skin as they're just melting away, so to speak, just wasting. And they're like, Dr. Fate, it didn't work, help us. He's like, oh, no, wait, my cell phone's ringing. It's Jimmy and the mother box. I gotta go talk to them. You two will be fine. Don't worry about it. See you later. And he just kind of bloop, 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 flies off away. He seems to have a very keen past with the mother box. Like, he knows all about it. He says it's an old friend, basically. Did the New Gods have any, like, ancient Egypt ties whatsoever?
Not that I'm aware of. When I think of ancient Egypt, I think of Apocalypse and on Marvel's side. So.
Yes. And Saba Nabawar.
And Saba Nur.
Okay, and Saba Nabawar. Yeah, you can tell I'm up to date with my Marvel stuff.
The dread Rama Tut.
Sure. So he flies off, leaving those two to die. Whoops. Again, this World's End title, number whatever this is, 6, I believe. A lot of vignettes, a lot of little small stories, so I'm going to be hopping around a little bit. Aquawoman, meanwhile, underneath, she has lost all of Atlantis. Death came in, killed all the Atlanteans, raised them as zombies, and swam off to attack the shore. So she goes down to the little pits underneath there, and quite literally resurrects and releases an old god from Lovecraft, and says, hey, you're kind of angry and hate life. Have fun, buddy. Get on out there. Kill everything because I don't have anything left to live for. My kingdom is gone and I at least want vengeance for the death of my kingdom. Make sure you at least kill all the bad guys while you're killing all the innocents as well. Get on out there. It's Azathoth or Azathoth. I don't know. It's an actual one of the Lovecraftian old gods.
Okay. Well, they're all public domain. You can use whatever.
Sure. Get out there. Have fun. Kill.
Make a plushy Cthulhu, you know.
In Chicago, though, my heart swelled. My heart grew 3 sizes this day because it is Dick Grayson and Barbara Grayson. Of course, we know her as Barbara Gordon. Mm-hmm. They are married on Earth 2 and they have a kid. They have wrangled up a posse and they are defending the supplies of their little refugee camp that they live in. And, some of the more rough gangsters, the ruffians of this, camp have come to steal a bunch of the supplies and they're trying to fend them off. And, it looks like they're about to get overrun when all of a sudden this giant meaty fist just pounds into the side of the leader ruffian's head and the camera kind of pans over and we see this huge older, and I'm talking huge, like muscular, like big Papa Pump style, like, bro, I'm here to crush people. Instead of there, and he's like, hey, I heard you guys are routing up a posse to save all the regular citizens. Can I join? And they're like, well, yeah, you seem to be able to, throw a punch or two. By the way, who are you? And he's like, who am I? I'm Ted Grant, aka Wildcat. Yeah! I was so happy to see him. He's much bigger than his previous incarnation. He is huge in this case.
He's from Chicago.
I
trust pizza. No, thank you, my friend.
He's better than the Ted Grant that's on Arrow, though. The young kid that's...
Is the Ted Grant on Arrow?
Never mind. Disregard.
Okay.
There isn't a guy named Mr. Grant that runs a boxing place that's like a younger guy in maybe his mid-20s.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, everything about Wildcat is wrong. But I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I'm pretty sure I have on this show. Wildcat is kind of the guy that's responsible for sowing the seeds for me even enjoying this DC Comics stuff or being even mildly interested in it whatsoever due to a brief appearance on Justice League Unlimited where it was on while I was getting ready for work. And I was like, that's intriguing. This guy intrigues me. Anyway, moving on to the next one. In the Fire Pit Factory, the Flesh Factory underneath the Fire Pits of Earth 2, Val-Zod, aka the other Superman that has come to Earth, Batman, aka actually Bruce Wayne's dad wearing the cowl on Earth 2, Red Tornado, aka Lois Lane, and Power Girl are out there trying to find the Huntress, who has been taken by Desaad down into the pits below. But what they find instead of Huntress and Desaad is a heaping pile of Superman clones. You get a Superman clone, and you get a Superman clone. Everybody gets a Superman clone. They're all in various stages of Superman cloney repair, and they're just kind of standing over there looking at it, and it's literally them going, no, our Superman's dead. This Superman is never gonna be, none of these Supermen are our Superman because ours is dead. And there's actually this very funny scene where Power Girl is looking at everyone there, and she's like, yeah, I was presumed dead. Batman, you're dead. Let me see here. Val-Zod, I believe you were dead because we were shot off into space. And of course, Lois Lane, we know you died and were uploaded into a robot. So surely we should just ignore this entire thing and go about our lives and never expect to see him ever again.
Where have you been hiding these past 2 years, Power Girl?
There is a bit of a scuffle though, because Batman wants to get out there and find his granddaughter, and meanwhile they're still trying to figure out, well, should we look for the real Superman, blah, 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 and he's like, look, are you guys gonna come help me find the Huntress, or are you guys gonna mill about and try to find literally a needle in a haystack of Superman clones here? Like, you could just toss Supermans over your shoulder for days, you could not find the real one, even if he was buried in this mess somewhere. They're like, I don't know. And that's when he goes, okay, well, you guys just back off. And he pulls out some kryptonite to like push back Val-Zod. And Val-Zod sacks up. He heat visions the kryptonite. He's like, yo, I let you run this thing because you seemed like you knew what you were doing, but I really don't like this new attitude of yours, Mr. Batman. And he like destroys the Miraclu formula or the Our Man stuff that he was through. Yeah, Miraclu. He destroys that.
Not being confused with the Miraclu.
And so that Batman's all ticked off, but Val-Zod's apparently taking charge. We are a happy, fun squad. We are not Mr. Grumpy Pants on drugs. You are no longer the boss of us. Now get in line. We're gonna go find Huntress. And they go traipse. Go find
This stuff, it's serious. You should have a healthy fear of it.
I kind of like the turn in Val-Zod, because he has been kind of wilting flower for most of it. And I understand why. He's been locked in a room for 20 years, so I can understand it, but seeing him kind of step up, pretty cool. World Army Headquarters, Amazonia. They're prepping for the Apocalypse invasion. They want to send an away team to Apocalypse to destroy it before it shows up and destroys Earth 2. And that's when Famine leaves London and heads over there and attacks them. So they all start wasting away as well as their bones start sucking in, or their flesh starts drooping in, and they get distended bellies, and yeah, they don't look good whatsoever. And that is when Dr. Light shows up Dr. Light. Dr. Fate shows up. Dr. Light would have been really awkward if he showed up. He's like, guys, I'm not even supposed to be here. I don't know why I'm here. But Dr. Fate shows up, flies on down because Mr. Miracle goes, okay, guys, we have to go now. We can't wait. So away team, Mother Box, take us to Apocalypse. And it goes ping and disappears from his hand. And Mr. Miracle's like, what? That never happens. And it appears in Jimmy Olsen's hand. And he's like, what are you doing here? And that's when Dr. Fate flies down and goes, hey, Jimmy, you're gonna die horrible. So this is gonna hurt a lot as I try to extract the Mother Box from your hands. Yay, team. I hope Jimmy actually makes it through. I know he's like been prophesized to die 4 times now. Like they're not really hiding it that he's supposed to die. So I'm like, come on, man, you can make it. Pull through on this. Last little vignette though. Finally, the odd couple of Green Lantern, Alan Scott, and, Solomon Grundy, who are flying out trying to form Captain Planet by getting all of the other avatars of the Earth together, are basically on the hunt for the next one of their group. And they are led by the Green to, of all places, Alan's fiance's house, Sam, from the first issue. I'm sure you at least heard of this. His fiance Sam that they proposed, and then the train crashed and he died in the crash, blah, 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 blah. And they're there and he's like, Sam, what the heck? Why are we here? This is Sam's house. And that's when we hear a voice come from above. That used to be my name. Now I am the Avatar of the White. Woo! So, speaking of convenient characters to mush stuff into. I mean, you can say anything you want about Lois Lane. Sure, at least her dad was a military guy that had access to weird projects and everything that could conceivably cram her consciousness into a robot. While it was an air elemental as well, is a little bit of a cherry on top of that story. But apparently Sam's the one of the other avatars of the white, in this case the atmosphere. So a lot of stuff happening over there. If you want to see a planet just being torn to shreds, World's End is living up to its title. I can tell you that much. It's actually kind of fun. I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. It's nonstop. You have to really pay attention and keep up with it because it's just vignette, 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 vignette. And you're like, okay, what happened last week of this group of people? Because they're not leaving any groups out of it really and just kind of really forging forward. So I recommend checking it out. Moving on, Brian.
What am I doing next?
I knew you were going to ask that question.
Justice League United?
Yes, Justice League United.
Okay.
Jeez, so unprepared. I sent you all these notes and everything so that you would be prepared.
Yeah, you keep on saying that, dude.
Yeah, because I didn't.
Yeah.
At least in this case, I didn't.
All right. Also, first off, correction from last time. I was referring to Courtney Stargirl as Cassie. Cassie is apparently Wonder Girl. My apologies. All right. So, the Justice League United has split up on Earth at the Moose Factory, and they are in space on a planet where they are fighting Bith, who is trying to bring about the end of the universe.
The end of times.
Yes. By summoning this Infinitus guy. And he has sent the cadre, which consists of such notable DC Comics villains as Shrike, Overmaster, Shatterfist, Black Mass, and Nightfall. But not that Nightfall. A different Nightfall. So they are
Was it K-N-I-G-H or
No,
N-N?
just N. Just
N.
N.
Okay. See, there's the difference. That silent K makes all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. There's your copyright right there. So they are attacking the Moose Factory to try to get Ultra the Multi-Alien, who is sort of like the key of this whole Infinitus thing.
Who's apparently going through puberty as well.
Yeah. Yes, as he's kind of hitting on Equinox.
Kind of? I wasn't quite sure if that was like a, oh, please protect me, like motherly type thing, or like a, hey, baby, what's up? We're trapped in this bunker together.
So Black Mass, having weird black hole teleportation powers, manages to find Ultra the Multi-Alien and teleports him and Equinox to space, where Bith is fighting the space team. He starts to merge with Infinitus, and Infinity Wraiths attack the space team, and Hawkman is still helping Bith because his friends let him die, so I'll just team up with the villain. Makes perfect sense, right?
Sure. Everyone's got a lot riding on Hawkman, so...
Yep. So, all seems lost, but Brainiac 5 is on the case. They need help in space, so he calls in the Legion's away team, the Legion Lost, who, despite being canceled, are still in the New 52. So that's Chameleon Girl, Dawnstar, Gates, Timberwolf, Tellus, Tyrock, and Wildfire. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Timberwolf, the not Wolverine ripoff.
At all. I will say,
was Timberwolf for first, before Wolverine, or after?
I'm not sure if he was before. I think he changed enough so they say, hey, we got this guy who could be Wolverine. Our Wolverine, let's do it, let's do it.
Get out there, he's gonna be gruff and smoke cigars and drink beer.
I always like Gates. Gates always just sort of showed up in the background, but he's like this weird centipede bird thing in a hoodie that can teleport. He's kind of a jerk. I enjoy him.
I just finished the Legion of Three Worlds tie-in for Final Crisis.
Okay.
And I'm happy that this was the solution, because the solution of that one was, hey, let's summon in multi-dimensions of like Earth 4 and Earth 5's Legion of Superheroes and just have multiple copies of Invisible Kid and Polar Boy and just all of them out there. Go, guys, go!
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the Legion that they were using. Is this the same Legion they were using in the Legion books beforehand?
For Legion Lost or Legion of Superheroes?
Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay,
I mean, it's part of their team. They obviously had a lot more characters.
Okay. So I will say this, if anyone read the old books like I did, it seemed like they're using the like older Jeff Johns versions of the characters, the Jeff Johns Gary Frank.
Yeah.
Where like Polar Boy's got his,
icy
spike popsicle head and stuff. Brainiac in an overcoat,
Sure, why not? Yeah. Got to keep that brain warm, man.
Mm-hmm.
Can't let it get cold, even though he's the fifth one or whatever. Why is he Brainiac 5? Is it because he's the fifth in line, or like the great-great-great-grandson of Brainiac? Or
I think it's like we're still working off the idea that the last...
that Vrildox, who was claiming he was
claiming his Brainiac, was actually Brainiac, and just the people on his planet were all like that, and then 5 generations down, Brainiac 5 was the one who decided to not be a jerk. Even though he was still a jerk, he was like.
So why do they all get named Brainiac? How did Brainiac get the name Brainiac and didn't just inherit his dad's name?
I don't know. A lot of the
and not be like Bob 14 or something like that.
I don't know. All the changes in Brainiac don't really make much sense with Brainiac 5 anymore. So,
alternate timeline.
Yep.
Yeah. The biggest complaint I hear about this book is that it, even on Reddit and everything like that, is that it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon, which to me is one of its greatest strengths.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's just kind of goofy. It doesn't take itself too seriously, I guess is the word I want to use. But I can understand if that's why people are a little frustrated with it.
Yeah, the Stranges are very Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes, very much so. If you do want a little just lighthearted Justice League action, and there is some action in there, don't get me wrong, it's not like they're all just sitting around laughing at each other and just slipping on banana peels or anything like that. There's no anvils falling on heads or anything. It's just the way it's framed is kind of lighthearted.
Animal Man and Green Arrow are still the best worst friends.
Yes. So if that sounds appealing to you, make sure you give that one a whirl. Last book for this half, Brian.
Okay, I've got Future's End. Future's End, number 28. The far future of 5 years from now.
Oh, 5 years in the future.
There we go. Thank you. So we start off on Cadmus Island, where Lois Lane just jumped out of a plane and lands on Cadmus Island, barely, like right on the edge of it.
Yeah, I know. She didn't hit the little cloaking field and slide down either. I was sad.
She immediately has a confrontation with an OMAC. She runs away from it, which I guess you can do. You can just run away from the OMAC.
Apparently, OMAC's not that threatening whatsoever from this issue. Because she's just like, I'll tase you? No? Okay, I'm just going to leave then?
Yeah.
Is that an option? Okay, I'm going to do that.
Run. She runs. She sees that Cadmus, the pharmaceutical company, is running the place. Then she runs back into the jungle, only to come into contact with Earth 2 Red Tornado.
Well, that's because she ran across... I'm sorry.
AKA her.
Yes.
Earth 2 her.
So, Earth 2 Lois Lane, who is an air elemental in a robot.
With its arms ripped off and no eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And doing hunky-dory. But the whole thing is she runs out to see it's Cadmus, runs into 3 more OMACs, and then goes, hey guys, just like I told the other guy, I'm just going to not be here, so I'm going to leave now, and just walks away again. I was like, what power is this that you have, Lois Lane, that you just kind of go, yeah, that's above my pay grade. I'm just going to go this way now.
Yeah. In Las Vegas, Frank Rock, the former Sergeant Rock, and King Faraday are talking about what to do with 50 Sue when 50 Sue shows up. And she wants the team to kill Deathstroke for teaming up with Brother Eye.
But no mere team. She wants the best team.
Mm-hmm. So they decide to let her use Voodoo's Black Ops Squad, a.k.a. Banger and Mash, to do that. Also, she goes and kills an OMAC because she's really good at killing OMACs.
Yep.
She's the opposite of Lois Lane, apparently. In New York, at the Wounded Duck, Plastique just blew up the apartments over the bar, and Batman Beyond is fighting actual Batman.
Batman?
Batman.
Whoa.
Yeah. Actual Batman. He's kind of a jerk. And Batman Beyond's future tricks help him and Plastique get away. Elsewhere in New York, Ronnie Raymond runs into former Red Robin Tim Drake, who, as we all know, is living under the name Godfrey Gooseborn.
Oh, God, I don't have the energy to fight you.
He's looking for his ex-girlfriend, Madison Payne, and Ronnie's all, oh, hey, she's my girlfriend now. I'll help. Let's go get Jason Rush. He's her lab partner. So Jason, meanwhile, is going to see Dr. Yamakaze, and breaks into his apartment to say, hey, I'm sorry that you fired me for being Firestorm, but I'm not Firestorm anymore. And, oh, you've got a gigantic superhero revenge map on your wall. This isn't good.
And
this isn't good at all.
A 15-second loop of the day your wife died during the Darkseid War that the Justice League weren't there to save him. Just playing in perpetuity over and over.
This can't be healthy. Can't be healthy at all. So Then, of course, meanwhile, Yamakaze has Madison tied up and is going to test his teleporter on her.
Not the fine china from their wedding?
Not the fine china, not the skeleton robot.
Oh, man.
Not Craig Ferguson's skeleton robot. No, he's going to use an actual person on this one.
Does he put her in there with a boll weevil? I saw this with a fly once. I really want to see how this plays out. Again, just a lot of stuff happening now after that Future's End month. They're just kind of going pop, pop, pop each week. So if you put in the time vested necessary, it's a fun little side story with a lot of characters that aren't getting any love anywhere else.
Yeah. Which
is really kind of making it the selling point for me, at least. I don't know if that's what your main draw
much
is. I like it that it's all these characters that have been literally cast off. I mean, most of the cast is characters that their books have been canceled.
Yeah, it's almost like the first wave that got canceled.
Yeah,
it's their own book
basically,
now.
you guys go out there, here's what you've been doing since, and have fun. Well, no one's really having fun in this case, but
No.
It's still for me a nice little side story with all those characters that's well written. There's no problems with the story or anything like that. It was just you had to put in the investment necessary at the beginning to build up to this stuff that's going on now. So, that'll wrap us up for round one, though. As I'm limping into the break here, my voice is already going out.
Go hook up spigots to our nasal cavities and just drain it and then come on back.
I actually have a maple syrup tap that I'm just going to put in there and it'll be fine. And a mop for all the blood from your ocular cavities. So, what do you have coming up for round two, Brian?
Batgirl, Batman, and Clarion. Clarion.
Yep. And I have Batman Eternal as we continue our weekly fun. New Suicide Squad, a.k.a. Newicide Squad. And I will wrap up this episode with a little bit of Constantine because I don't think we've been to Earth 2 just quite enough. So hold on a couple seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through those books.
We're back.
Yeah.
And we're back.
The Plaguebourne Pundits return. Ooh. It's just the raw energy in this room is really what's pushing me through this, Brian. I think that's what's driving all of us to continue on in this endeavor.
Yes.
Hey, if anything, these books are so much fun that we're still doing this week, regardless of our dying nature. So I'm actually going to lead us off because we're in the Bat half. And of course, what does that mean, Brian?
Batman. He's never going to stop.
No, because it's Batman Eternal. Every week, week in and week out, we cover Batman Eternal. And this week is no different. That's why I'm here. Batman is the reason I am here this week. It must be done. This one starts off with Hush versus Spoiler. I can already see you're on the edge of your seat, Brian. You're loving it. Actually, I think you would love this one because it's basically 4 pages of Spoiler, Stephanie Brown, making fun of Hush of how low rent and janky he is. That's why I was curious if you were actually a prepubescent teenage girl, and I just
I've
never
been called
knew.
worse.
I never knew, man. You've infiltrated the books just to make fun of Hush. Well played, sir. Well played. But Hush is about to shoot her in the head because even though she burns him sickly, he still beats her pretty easily and is about to shoot her in the face when Batman shows up and saves her. But Hush throws a grenade, and during the explosion, both of them escape. And it's Batman standing there looking back and forth like, man, this must be what everyone else feels like when I do this to them. Elsewhere. Actually, not really elsewhere. Batman decides it's time to regroup. Let's get the gang back together. Everyone's kind of checked in. He takes the Bat bus and picks up Batwing from down in the bottom there because Alfred's able to establish contact with him in the sewer base he was in. Picks up Alfred from the sewer base. Brings everyone back to the Bat Cave, and there's like the great scene where it's Julia Pennyworth like, Dad, I was giving you so much flack all that time. Why didn't you ever tell me? I'm so happy you're alive. Oh my goodness. You actually are doing a lot of crazy ass shit here. Batwing, meanwhile, decides to take a little PTO. He's like, I need some days off. I'm going to go back and see my rents and everything, see how the fam's doing, because I was trapped down in a hole for a day or two. That's kind of my line right there. I need to take some days off. So he's going to take some sick days there.
If Brad Meltzer were writing me, I would have gotten an Eisner, but I was not. So I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take leave. Okay.
While they're there, though, they figure out that someone has accessed the Bat computer, and they trace it back to the date that Hush broke in and injected Alfred with the fear toxin. And the file that they got into was the location of every Bat cache, like all of his little secret hidey holes of gear and trinkets and whatever it is he has for his missions, all throughout the city. And he goes, okay, well, that's weird. Why did Hush do that? There's only 2 people that can even open them, myself and Alf. Oh, crap. He took some of Alfred's blood, didn't he? And it cuts over to a scene with him, like, injecting Alfred's blood into a little fingerprint thing and using that to get access to the Bat caches. It's like, wop, wop. That explains why he attacked Alfred. Much easier to get the jump on Alfred and get a blood sample than Batman, I'm sure. Although you would think with as much as he gets beaten up and explosions and everything, there's probably Batman blood all over Gotham City. All over. Meanwhile, a wounded Jason Bard meets Hush on the roof of the police station. He's wounded because when Red Hood threw him over the side of the building and caught him by the leg with the rope, when Batgirl actually stopped him from killing him. And I guess it like dislocated his leg, so he's kind of limping around there. He meets him up there, and Hush goes, hey, I'm going to make a move on all of these caches that Batman has throughout the city. It's a different play, but I want you to have your girlfriend, Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale?
Yeah. Spread
Vicky
the
Vale?
word everywhere, if possible. And he goes back and he's like, oh, Vicky Vale, I found this horrible news. It looks like Wayne Industries has been hiding caches of explosives all throughout the city. Why would they do such a thing? Whatever you do, don't write an article about it in the newspaper and tell everybody. Which, of course, is what she does. And it basically ends with martial law being declared in Gotham City. They have quite literally military vehicles going down the street with people like yelling out about the curfew, the little bullhorns on the top, like, please report back to your homes.
Does BuzzFeed Joey write a companion piece called One Weird Trick to Finding a Bat Cache?
21 Reasons Why 80s Kids Would Hate Bat Caches.
There's one thing about bat caches doctors do not want you to know.
Whoa. But this military vehicle is driving down the street when all of a sudden an explosion rips through the street, destroying the truck. All these civilians are killed. The military people and the civilians that survive are screaming, missing limbs. It's like a horrible war scene. And as the wreckage falls down, all of the bat paraphernalia that was also in the cache rains down around them, blatantly pointing the finger that it was a Batman-related thing as, like, it zooms in on this stupid little batarang as it goes cling, 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 and lands on the ground next to an injured civilian on the streets. See what that bat branding got him? Mm-hmm. See what all that bat branding gets you, man? Oh. As soon as you went corporate, it was all over Batman. Yep. Someone was going to come for you via lawsuit. Yep. Via lawsuit. Which is also explaining how Bruce Wayne and Wayne Enterprises has lost all its money over in Arkham Manor.
Oh, yeah.
We're starting to catch up to that point. So apparently he's going to be sued or lose everything due to the trace back to Wayne Enterprises or whatever it is. So, yeah. Yay, Batman! Things are coming up roses for him.
Everything's coming up Batman.
Everything's coming up Batman. Which is why you have Batman books,
I know
too.
Batman, yeah. So, Batman 36, we're in the, not the far future, post-Batman Eternal.
5 days in the future.
Yes, 5 days in the future. Batman has been fighting the...
Are you sure it's not Backman?
Might be Backman.
Okay.
So, Backfat is fighting Joker Superman. He's been fighting the Justice League. They all got hopped up on Joker Venom. And so Batman fights Joker Superman with the most comically over-the-top I am rubber, you are glue fighting in his mega bat suit.
His bat mecha.
His bat mech, where he's like fighting, he's like punching Joker Superman with gauntlets that have miniature red suns that he's collected with the atom in the fist. And he's just like, bam, bam, bam. I've thought of everything, Superman.
I am
Punch.
prepared.
I'm the most prepared. So he knocks him out. The Justice League's going to get better. Batman
he's
beat
not
up the
prepared
Justice
for?
League. I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Batman, he's trying to figure out where the Joker came from. I mean, never really knows, but he's trying to figure out, what the Joker's doing since he's been back. So he goes to investigate Joker's old cell. When he gets confronted by Arkham Doctor Eric Border,
Who we saw back in the annual number 2.
Yes.
He was the fresh-faced young intern coming in to work at the Arkham Manor or Arkham Asylum to help rehabilitate all of the people there because they've been treated like prisoners when they're actually patients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and wouldn't you know it, Eric Border is really the Joker.
Oh, well.
Yes, ultra prepared Batman. He walks into Joker's cell. Eric Border goes, clink, closes the door, shoots off some paralyzing gas. He's like, haha, got you. Now you're stuck here while I explain at length my ridiculous Batman 66 name origin.
Oh.
Because A stands for eternal and Rix in some weird language refers to prince. And Border, if you spell Border a different way, that means jester. So I'm the eternal Prince Jester, and Batman's just like, oh my god.
How did I not see it coming?
Snyderpedia!
Why aren't you like the others, like Edward Nygma? That one's so easy to figure out.
I know.
Pamela Isley, come on! Victor Freeze!
Yep. And then Joker shoots Batman in the head.
Was he
Maybe.
just like, if only I had my gauntlet with red suns in
I know,
I
right?
could escape.
Oh man, always prepared.
Why didn't he just blow his little whistle that he uses for the Batmech to come shooting up out of the ground like Voltron?
And then there's the backup tale
I really like these backup tales.
where one lady thinks the Joker's a robot, and she's probably wrong.
Wow, did you just minimize that?
Yeah, I
Because
did.
I thought that story was really creepy.
Oh yeah.
Where it's all the other patients of
Yeah, there's
Arkham.
a bunch of patients. They've all been told a Joker origin story, and the one who got the right one gets to live.
Yes.
This lady doesn't get to live.
No, I'm thinking pretty closely. Yeah, she's probably not gonna. I would not put money on her surviving
No.
this. But
The
her
cool devil story from last time, maybe.
Yeah.
I could see them going in that direction.
I could too.
Robot Joker, no, no,
just no.
nope.
What if
Nope.
Devil Joker built a robot Joker and sent him out as
As
well?
long as he used his fiddle while he was doing it.
Did the Joker go down to Georgia? I did actually really enjoy it though. Those backup stories are just the right level of quasi origin / creep factor. It's like an old Tales from the Crypt story, each one of them.
Okay.
That's what I get out of each one of these backup tales, like this weird little origin Tales from the Crypt type thing. A little vignette story of why this person is crazy, this particular patient, what their psychosis is, and how that relates to how they think the Joker came to be, or at least, or something like that.
I guess the joke will be on you.
Have you ever gone back and watched the YouTube master editions of the season 1, all of the Crypt Keepers puns from Tales from the Crypt?
Just like a supercut of all the
just
puns.
a supercut of all of the puns, and you're just like,
That sounds like it's up my
"Holy
alley.
crap."
Sounds like it's up my alley a bit.
But all the costume changes, I did not realize how many costume changes that little guy had. Although this story, I think if it was told, and I said it before, that the Eternal has become the main Batman book for me because it's so linear and I feel the progression of the story as it's going, whereas the Batman title has been jumping around in time. It has to with the way Eternal's working.
Yeah.
Especially with Snyder and Tynion working on Eternal as well. Where we had the Zero-Year stuff beforehand, and now we're dealing with the Endgame stuff, which is afterwards.
Yeah.
And then the Death of the Family stuff was in between there somewhere, but before Eternal. So they're doing a little bit of timeline gymnastics that has taken a little bit away from it, but I think after the fact, rereading it through, it'll actually read a
Everything
lot
will
better.
come together.
Yeah. So you have one more Bat title before we leave the Bat
Okay,
Zone.
I've got Batgirl 36. First, I will do another correction since we've stopped doing corrections at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that Batgirl had a female writer last time. I was blatantly wrong. It's Cameron Stewart, who is, a dude, along with Brendan Fletcher. They were writing it. What I was kind of leaning at was that Babs Tarr, the artist, seems to be have a lot of creative input into this, even though she's not writing. So you can feel that there is actually a female voice contributing to it.
Sure.
As opposed to, Becky Cloonan being an actual female writer over at Gotham Academy, also with Brendan Fletcher. Yes, and going back to the whole, Babs Tarr is obviously collaborating with the writers on this issue, they obviously asked, hey, Babs, what do you want to draw? Anime girls on motorcycles? Sure, we'll work that in. We'll work that in for you very easily.
Not even just anime girls on motorcycles, but cosplay anime girls?
Mm-hmm. Which, if you know Babs Tarr's back catalog, yeah, that's a thing she likes. It's a thing she likes a lot. Batgirl settles in at college, makes some new friends, fights some anime motorcycle girls. I'm not going to be that.
Your reductionism is just horrible.
I'm not going to do that. But that is literally all my nose. No, Batgirl, she settles in at college. She's working on her master's thesis, which is some city planning thing.
It's using social media and figuring out an algorithm to trace its growth as far as stories and the planning of the city, where people are going, what they're doing via social media itself.
Yeah. So she meets her new, her office mate and her hunky professor that she's going to be working with her. That's like, oh my goodness, I will give you all of the things you need, pretty young lady.
Humana.
Yeah. Her office mate, her brother is working at some science lab where some high-tech motorcycles got stolen. Oh my goodness, I'm a detective. I will figure this out. So she runs into these motorcycle girls just tearing up the quad. For
no reason
with swords.
whatsoever.
I'm going to do some donuts.
But look at my cool anime shoulder armor here.
Yep. And they shout out some old catchphrase, and Barbara Gordon's like, wait a minute, I remember everything. I've got a photographic memory. And she remembers an old anime cartoon she used to watch.
That she loved as a kid, apparently.
She loved, yeah. And they're stealing these old characters. So she remembers who it is, goes to some, a specialty shop and says, hey, do you know anything about this Atomica anime from before? And you get the perfect boutique shop owner saying, no, I don't know anything about Atomica, but I know it by its real Japanese name, crappy American fan. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Dubs are for losers, subs all the way.
Yep. But yeah, there's these two identical twin motorcycle girls who certainly enjoy the identical twin motorcycle villains from that old anime. They do cosplay of it. It's probably them. So she, tricks her way into getting her information.
I would say that this tiny niche character that no one ever cosplays as, except for these two girls that we know that live around the corner, might be your prime suspects.
Detective work.
Did she activate detective mode? Did everything turn green for a little bit? And she just looked around and went, aha, it's them.
But yeah, so she tracks them down, fights them. It turns out that they were hired by Batgirl to fight Batgirl, and they thought that she was just trying to make them look, or they were trying to make her look good. But she captures them and gets them arrested. And we did have a thing at the end of last issue where someone texted her and says that they know that she's Batgirl. And this issue, they were talking about how, yeah, the person who's texting me was texting me as Batgirl, so there might be another Batgirl running around.
That's apparently at least stolen her identity.
Yeah.
Stolen her secret identity.
Yeah.
Or is
her Bat identity. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah, not quite sure how that works at all. But yeah.
Does she have to get her Bat card canceled so that it does not get false charges on it?
Of course, exactly.
Never leave the cave without it.
Nope. But yeah, so she saves her, friend's brother's experimental motorcycles, and she gets a hard drive so she can save all the lost data she got from the last issue.
Well, at least try to salvage it.
Yeah. And then, her roommate accidentally spills right in front of the cute professor that she thinks he's cute, and there's a bunch of big, blushy red faces.
After it was just exposed that she did not have the algorithm anymore, and she was trying to... Wait, you're doing this without the algorithm? Oh, I'm trying to recover it. Oh, is this the cute professor you were talking about? And she's just head down on the table.
It just goes full sitcom at the end of this. Like, oh, produced by Don Broniger.
And the older professor just always has the little love bubbles above his head every time he sees her. It's really the only word you could use to describe it is cute.
Yeah.
The entire thing is cute. It is so cute. And I mean, it's telling a story. It's not just like, here's cutesy pictures and cutesy scenarios.
And they're pulling all the stuff from before, like her, photographic memory and her past cast. Black Canary still tooling around in her apartment.
Because she burned down the condormitory.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, the condormitory is gone.
Oh, no, come back.
I really like what they're doing, but really the main draw of this for me is the style and tone.
Yeah.
Which is also the main thing that is going to turn people off that aren't into this style or tone. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying you have to like this, but if
you should. I'm going to say you should.
If you have not given it a chance because of the look or style, and you're like, it's just going to be a bunch of cutesy fluff. It's not all cutesy fluff. As I said, there is a storyline that is progressing. If you're going off of the earlier issues of Batgirl as far as tone, it is not that whatsoever. As you said before, it is tonal whiplash. It's a complete 180, but the characters are there. They're still playing off the story elements. And it's just
Batgirl just doesn't look like she's 35 anymore.
It's just it's just a sharp left turn down a different avenue of storytelling. And if you follow along, it's got a story that's being told. It's basically Batgirl dealing with modern social media.
Yeah.
And how much of a just hell it has to be for college students.
Yeah.
So you're obviously on that train full steam.
Yep.
Yelling at people that they should like it. Even though
which is the best way to do something, just force someone to like something.
Oh yeah, I mean no one ever rebels against that whatsoever.
Nope.
Next up on the list though, new Suicide Squad, or Brian as you call it,
Newicide Squad.
Newicide Squad. We were in Most Glorious Russia. Hey, that's why I have a cold. We are in Most Glorious Russia.
I forgot to wear my fuzzy hat.
Yes. Hey. Where Deathstroke has taken up the job of torturing Deadshot, and they have a wonderful repartee concerning eyes, where it's haha, you can't do anything without your reticle robot eye, and he's like, well, at least I have two eyes, and they go back and forth making fun of each other's eye issues. It's actually kind of humorous through the whole thing. And that is when Deadshot's yelling at him like, why did you abandon the team? Why did you screw us? And he's like, team? What the heck are you talking about? We weren't never a team. It's just a bunch of people thrown together to try to do a mission. I got a better offer. Obviously, I'm going to go there and do that. Meanwhile, Black Manta and Harley Quinn are reenacting Last Action Hero, dual-wielding AK-47s and just running through mowing down Russians as they run through the streets of Moscow to find Deadshot so they can try to rescue him. I mean, this is like full-on Commando at the end where he's in the Rose Garden just turning back and forth, mowing down soldiers as they run out. That's what these two are doing. And they finally make their way to Deadshot, and as they come in, Deadshot's surprised to see them. He's like, what? You guys came back for me? And he's like, yeah, of course, we're a team. And that's when Deathstroke jumps out and goes, what the hell is up with you guys in teams? Why do you keep talking about teams? And they all start fighting. It basically ends with Deathstroke getting the upper hand. He's about to murder everyone there. Deadshot gets free during the fight, picks up one of the AK-47s, and shoots Deadshot through the chest. And he falls down a little hole off to the side. Surely never to be seen again. Surely. But they're like, nice shot, Deadshot. And he's like, I was aiming for his head, but I missed. I never miss. That's my thing. Unfortunately, though, as he says it, someone's going to need to carry me because my legs are just giant socks full of broken bones and viscous materials. So he's not doing too good, and they end up hauling him out. Now, the little side story that's going on in this is the bureaucracy back in D.C. because Vic Sage is trying to get the neck bomb detonator code from the president, but the president refuses to hand it over to him because it's going to be a check and balance. Amanda Waller gets to keep the code, but Vic Sage gets to call the missions, so to speak. So check and balance. So he storms back in and goes, okay, Amanda Waller, this obviously isn't going to work. You're going to need to follow directions. You're going to need to actually be a subordinate. And she's like, why? What are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do. And she basically eggs him on until he lunges at her and tries to punch her in the face. And then she proceeds to embarrass him and just slam him down on the table, point out the cameras that just caught him trying to assault her, and says, enjoy your time not being in charge of Suicide Squad. I'm in charge again because I'm a stone cold biatch. Bam! Amanda Waller, that's how she gets things done. Last little thing, epilogue. The general of the military in Moscow, the one that him and Deadshot were shooting each other back and forth trying to capture each other. That funny repartee. He is in the hospital recovering. And that is when a suit from Mars Industries. Does this sound familiar to you?
Mars?
Mars Industries.
No.
Yeah, Mars Systems. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought it was maybe like Rocket Red or something like that, but it doesn't. There's no link to it whatsoever. I tried Googling it up. I didn't find any link to it. Shows up and says, hey, it's a shame you're in the hospital. Why don't you look us up once you get out, and we'll patch you back up and get you back out there. Surely with no augmentations whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
The end. So it's, as I told you off air, it's a guilty pleasure book for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the most gripping title out there by far, but I believe the phrase I used was the clear hatred of the writer towards some characters and using other characters as vehicles to mock them. Kind of fun. Kind of fun. Maybe hatred's too strong of a word, but sincere dislike, maybe. Uh-huh. So I guess I find enjoyment out of that reading between the lines. So moving on. What do you got, Brian?
All right. Are you ready for a bizarre stream of conscious noir-style trip through DC's multiversal netherworld?
No. Ready for a tissue, so I'll be back.
All right, so we're doing Clarion number 2. Clarion the Witch Boy is fighting Rasp, the descendant of Rasputin, who has merged his body with techno magic at the Necropolitan Club.
So he's got the techno-organic virus?
Maybe. Where Rasp was trying to join an EDM band that beat him up. He's jealous that his crush Zell, aka Goth Rapunzel, went to the club with Clarion instead. I mean, what if they decide to make love right in this club? If it's good enough for Usher, it might be good enough for Clarion.
Man.
Yeah.
This EDM is not quite what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a lot of wub, 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 wubs. Didn't know there was Usher there, too.
Yeah. There's actually this great bit where he uses his techno magic to look through Zell's internet cache and can't see anything on Clarion. And because they see magic happening, the club goers decide to start stoning the 3 main cast members because allegory.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because allegory? That's what you're going to say?
Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, at the Moody Museum, Piper, the Guillermo del Toro lady, and Noah, the master chef, decide to create a rain of frogs to make people forget about the magic fight they just saw. You know, because what better way to forget 2 teens laser fighting than with biblical doomsaying. Or, Magnolia,
One of the two.
One of the two. And Tom Cruise gave such a tour de force performance in that. I don't remember those teens fighting at all. Rasp and Clarion are suddenly friends now. Fight then friends. It's superheroes.
Yeah, sure.
So, Rasp is too busy being an early adapter. Zell is lazy and focusing on ferrets on Tumblr. And Clarion doesn't know what he can do. So, Noah tries to make soup out of Tikal's hairball and unleashes a nether demon on the world, apparently.
Sure.
Looks like it. These are things that are happening in this book. So, Cole and Necrot, the guys that gave Rasp his Technomancer powers, are so evil. So evil, Sean.
You know it.
I almost mistook them for Sir Simon Milligan and manservant Hecubus.
Wow.
They are so evil. They're making little spider robots called Buddy Bots.
Hey, that doesn't sound evil.
I know, that everyone will need to live. They'll get people to swallow them, then they bore out of your skin, and then they'll be your pal.
Wait, whoa. Well, I've seen a design flaw here already.
Yeah, they'll pick you up from the airport, feed your cat while you're away, then eventually no one will be able to live without them. Literally. Evil.
But the boring through the flesh part is kind of hard to get over.
Yeah. You'll get used to it. It's what everyone's doing, Sean.
Apparently I'm behind the times.
So, Clarion and Zell are practicing Cirque du Soleil rope tricks.
Ho ho!
When Zell almost brings Tikal back to life or something, then she starts to fall off the ropes. Then Clarion starts to work his dark magic on her, and then they get ready to start the dark makeouts. Dark makeout, Sean.
Dark makeout, I'm with you.
Makeout, yeah.
Sorry, I was coughing.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Rasp is busy spying on them through a hole in the wall, being all, ethnically ambiguous and whatnot, when his buddy bot crawls out of his hand and offers to talk about his feelings with him. And also, as they make out darkly, Zell's hair starts to strangle Clarion.
So she's into the
rough stuff. Apparently.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's a PG way of doing it.
Yeah. And you know what? It was actually kind of good. I talk about all this.
Tell me again. Say it again, Ryan.
It was kind of good. Maybe it's because I'm mixing NyQuil and DayQuil, but
it made complete sense to me.
Yeah. In this bizarre Clarion wizard world that they're making, it makes sense.
My only critique, the scene cuts. There's too many of them.
Yeah.
It literally, like, every page you're jumping to a different scene, it feels like. It's like, whoa,
and there's still a lot of stuff. There's still a lot of stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense, but
it's early enough that they're allowed to get away with it right now.
If it continues on to, like, issue 12.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you start having some issues. I'm still not seeing, because even in this book, it literally bores through the palm of his hand, and he has a gaping, bleeding hole with a little friendly robot there, and he's like, "Oh, hey, buddy, how you doing?" It's like, no, that would not be my reaction to this little robot that bored through my hand. I understand these are magic people, they see weird things, but I draw the line at little friendly robots boring out
There
of
is
my
a Guillermo
flesh.
del Toro lady that's my RA, so, I've seen some weird crap.
I understand, I'm just saying, pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe if you, like, even throw them up or something, I would be probably more friendly to the robot than boring through my flesh.
Yeah.
I just love hearing you be like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Was I supposed to? Is that how that was supposed to happen?
Yeah.
I am glad you have embraced the shuka of the Etch-a-Sketch and have wiped away the old and are embracing the new to try something different. As I said, all of the negative things on Green Arrow and Katana and Catwoman, all the things that didn't make it work there, work here in the world of Clarion.
Yes.
As far as magic and weirdness and just odd things happening left and right. It fits here, and it fits fine. So it's quite literally taking the weaknesses of other stories and applying them where they're strong points. So I can't fault anyone for jumping on that bandwagon whatsoever. Last book of this half, though, because magic and magic, it should have been mixed in with the Earth 2 books, but I didn't want to ramble for 3 books in a row, honestly, to tell you the truth. Constantine, and what could possibly be my favorite issue of this title to date. We're going on Earth 2. If you remember, Constantine and his escape from other wizards broke through the multiverse and found himself stranded on Earth 2 as it was in hell mode, as we're seeing over in World's End, and the world is being torn apart. The way he's seeing it, though, is kind of an interesting outsider's perspective. Because he is strutting through the streets of Earth 2 London, and he can feel, as we know, Apocalypse is getting closer to Earth 2, but he feels waves of hatred and anger and rage and just death, murder, etc. being pushed onto Earth 2 itself. From some source he doesn't know from where. It's kind of like Earth 2's final crisis is what's going on. Okay. The people are going crazy, the people are very enraged, they're shooting each other, there's murders all over the place. There's like severed heads in the windows of shops and stuff like that. I mean, it's a pretty gory book in this one. But he decides, this isn't my Earth. It's not the main Earth. It doesn't matter. None of these people are real even. This is all fake. Really, if you take a step back and think about it, that's how we as the reader feel a lot of these little alternate pocket dimensions are even. And even in real life, if we were confronted with Doppelganger Brian and Doppelganger Sean from Earth 2, it would be like, okay, fake guys, get out of here. You're not the real ones. Go back to your...
Why do you think we called it Earth 2?
Oh, yeah, it's a very realistic response to the whole thing. So it's him basically trying to ignore all the people being killed around him and just going, I don't need to worry about them. I don't need to help them because they're not real. This whole place isn't real. He sees like a family tearing down the street in a station wagon with a little girl looking out the window with her headsets on, just in terror. And he's like, I should probably help them, but they're not real. They're not important. This is a little side story on my adventure. It's not going to matter in the long run. My continuity will not be affected by this journey. So he continues on his way, and that's when he starts getting a little crazy because it seems like the whole world is out to kill him. Like, literally, meteors start falling from the sky and crashing into the road around him, and he's like, of course, meteors, of course, why not? Hey, when's the frogs' blood coming down? And he ends up
Check in with Piper and Noah.
What's that?
Check in with Piper and Noah.
Exactly. He ends up getting hit by one of the meteors that, like, hits the road in front of him, and he crashes his car, or at least swerves off the road. And as he's recovering, he sees the station wagon that had the family with the little girl in it up ahead. And he's like, the doors are open. There's blood leaking out of the side of the car. And he's like, it doesn't matter. These people aren't real. I don't need to worry about them. I don't need to worry about them. And he's like, God damn it. I need to at least check. And he goes up to the car. Parents are dead, like disemboweled, missing limbs. But the little girl is missing from the back seat. The door's open. Her headsets are still there. And he's like, I know how this has already played out. Why am I wasting my time? Why am I putting myself in trouble? But he ends up casting a spell to try to find her, and he wanders off into the field nearby. And that's where he finds some guy that has gone insane by whatever it is that is washing over them, all of these primal fears and rages, who has quite literally dismembered this little girl and disemboweled her and pulled out her organs to try to find whatever the signal was telling him was inside of her, and he couldn't find it. All he could find was squishy bits. And he's like, all I have is one bullet left in my gun. What should I do? And Constantine goes, pop, and tells him to just shoot himself in the head, and that's what the guy does. And climbs back into his car, drives off to where he feels the Earth 2 counterpart of himself is, because he has to find him so that he can open up a gate to back to Prime Earth. And as he gets there, he's like, wait a minute, I know this house. This is impossible. This house burned down. This is my childhood home where I killed my parents when I sold my soul to whatever magical being it was that gave me my powers, and it ended up burning down the house around me, killing my parents. So this shouldn't be here. It's not real. It doesn't matter. And he knocks on the door expecting his Earth 2 counterpart to be there. And his dad actually opens the door. And he's like, oh, crap. As he sees the Earth 2 punk rocker John Constantine is laying on the couch because as this John Constantine has been there, it's been sucking his life force out. It was really, really good. It's all tone. I'm not doing it justice because it's quite literally the epitome of what I've been touting I want this book to be. John Constantine being shady, trying to make his way through with his own moral compass in a superhero world, but kind of outside of it as well. And that's exactly what this was. All that crap that's going on in the World's End books with the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse and all this like superhero, I mean, pure superhero stuff going on. And here's Constantine off on the side who has a completely different view of it. The exact same things are happening to the world, but he sees it differently and interacts with it differently. So we still get him in a superhero world doing his thing. And the tone was amazing of him trying to not accept this as a real place whatsoever even. And yet his moral compass still drove him to do the right thing. Even though it was at the end pointless, his conscience is clean. He at least tried. So I know it doesn't sound like up your alley with all the dismemberments and organs being pulled out left and right, but it was really, really good. Probably the closest it's been to the Constantine as it's been explained to me before. So if that's what your bag is, scope that out. And if you like the Earth 2 stuff, it was a nice little side vignette story of it. So, that's it. That wraps us up. Thank God, because I'm falling apart here. My face is literally melting.
It's not even 8 o'clock. I'm so tired.
I know. As a reminder, you guys go out there and buy these books. Do not go off of what we said this week.
Certainly not this week.
Yeah, just like last week, we're having a bad stretch right now, so sorry. But if you don't buy them, they don't make them. Nobody wins. And there were some honestly good books this week. Some surprisingly good books from some sources that we weren't expecting it from, aka Brian. So make sure you go out there and support the hobby. But enough about this week's books. Why don't we talk about next week's books?
Sure, why not? It's what we do at the end of every episode.
Exactly. We have things to do. Otherwise, I would just say bye and go collapse at a corner somewhere. Next week, we have Batman and Robin number 36 as we continue the the Robin Batman Invasion of Apocalypse, Batman Eternal number 33, Batman Superman number 16, Batwoman number 36, hopefully giving us an answer as to what the hell happened in 35. Earth 2 World's End number 7, Green Lantern's New Guardians number 36, Harley Quinn number 12. What else we got here? Justice League number 36 with a giant LexCorp biohazard for its cover. I don't know if you've seen this. It's kind of like the Green Lantern ones where it's just a stylized cover of all it is just the bio symbol with LexCorp at the top and like the codes being the actual issue and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a nice little cover, I thought. We also get Red Hood the Outlaws number 36, Supergirl number 36, where she goes to space Hogwarts. That's all I'm gonna say. Superman Wonder Woman number 13, Teen Titans number 4, The Multiversity Pax Americana number 1. What is Pax Americana?
Not sure, but I think
Is that the Freedom Fighters?
that might be the Freedom Fighters.
Okay, that would sound right
On
for
Earth
Pax
X.
Americana.
Yeah.
What else we got here? New 52, Future's End number 29, Trinity of Sin number 2, and a new adventure in Wonder Woman number 36 as we start with a new creative team to see where it goes. Yeah, I know it's hard to say goodbye to the old one, but we have to keep on forging ahead. Kia, as they say. But that's it. If you want to contact us, if you just want to be like, I don't even know what to say. If you want to say go blow your nose, I completely understand. If you want to say
If we
quit
pitched
coughing
you up,
into
you would
mic,
sound like Jason from Home Movies.
you can do so by typing DCR Podcast into the internet. You can find us on Facebook. Give us a like there if you're a glutton for punishment. Find us on Twitter. Follow us if you want to see me not post anything. Tumblr, Brian posts pictures all over the place. And you can email us at feedback@dcrpodcast.com. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go die now.
All right.
So guys, enjoy your books, enjoy your weeks, enjoy your lives, and hopefully next week we'll be back to square.
Satisfied
Zero?
with my care.